Have you ever started wanting something and couldn't remember when you start wanting it? A certain lifestyle, a career, a body, the version of success, the way of living, a future. And if someone asks you where that desire comes from, probably you won't have the answer. You would simply assume that it's yours. But what if many of the things we want are not consciously chosen, but they are slowly absorbed? The invisible shift. I think most people imagine influence in very obvious way. Someone tells you what to think. Someone convinces you an idea. Someone changes your mind. But the most powerful influence doesn't work like that. It doesn't argue with you. It doesn't force itself on you. It simply shows you the same thing again and again until your brain stops questioning it. And when something feels normal, it starts shaping how you see yourself. My personal observation. There have been moments in my life where I found myself comparing my life to the people I never even met, watching entrepreneurs, creators, people my age who seems to be moving faster, building bigger things, living better lives. And I remember sitting after a work one night, scrolling through my phone, feeling pressure to achieve things I had never consciously decided were important. And when I looked closely at that feeling, I realized something strange. I couldn't remember when those desires become mine. They hadn't appeared overnight. They had arrived gradually, so gradually that it feels natural. But the natural and original are not the same thing. The new environment. For most of human history, your environment was smaller. Your family, your friends, your village, your community. That environment shaped who you become. But it did so on human scale. Today, your environment is completely different. Thousands of strangers, influencers, celebrities, entrepreneurs, creators, curated lives, highlighted reels, and whether you realize it or not, your mind is constantly adapting to that environment. The hidden pattern. I think one of the biggest misunderstanding about identity is the belief that it appears in isolation, that who you are emerging entirely from within. But the identity has always been shaped by environment, the language you speak, the values you hold, the ambition you chase, the beliefs you carry, and the future you imagine. Most of these things doesn't arrive through conscious decision. They are absorbed through repeated exposure, and social media is the most powerful exposure machine humanity has ever created. What really changes? Most people think social media changes opinions. I think it deeper influences something else. It changes what feels normal success, normal beauty, normal wealth, normal lifestyle, normal expectations. And once something feels normal, it starts feeling desirable, then expected, then necessary. Eventually, you stop asking whether something is right for you or not. You start asking whether you are measuring up to whatever you have been shown. The real consequence. This isn't really a story about attention, and it isn't really a story about dopamine. Those things matter, but they are symptoms. The deeper question is what happens when an environment begins shaping your desires before you examine them? What happens when it influences your definition of success, your definition of status, your definition of beauty, your definition of meaning? And over time, the line between your own identity and the identity your environment's rewards becomes harder and harder to see. awareness. I don't think everyone is affected equally. Awareness matters. Two people can consume the same content. One absorb it unconsciously, the other absorb it consciously. One becomes the reflection of the environment, the other begins questioning the environment. And that difference changes everything. The pattern reveals the most powerful influence is not the one that tells you what to think, it's the one that quietly changes what feels normal. And once something feels normal, it starts shaping who you become. I don't think the biggest question is what the social media is doing to you. I don't think the biggest question is social media is influencing you. It is. The real question is who are you becoming while it's doing it? Because identity doesn't emerge in isolation. It emerges from environment, and the environment we spend time in eventually begin speaking to us. Maybe the question isn't what I am confusing. Maybe the question is what's the environment slowly teaching me what to become.